I would like to jump back to disregard some discrepancies on the Oregon plan. One of the things mentioned by my opponent was the fact that one of the main reasons why people choose PASS is because they're losing autonomy, and that's not considered under the section of physical pain. We can't really evaluate how people handle stress and emotional pain, and I believe that autonomy and the decreased ability to participate in enjoyable activities and loss of dignity is under that idea that they are still suffering. This is still a form of pain for them, and if it's not, if they can't handle it, that's still something that should be considered in what their outcomes should be. This was all stated by Oregon.gov. In the same study, I want to look at cost. It is stated that financial concerns make up 3.4% of the total reasons as why people choose assisted suicide. So looking at the example he gave about the man who chose to do it instead of doing his treatment because it was cheaper seems almost irrelevant and signaled out from the rest of the population who would choose PASS. If it's so less of a concern, it seems almost irrelevant to me to mention, as most people won't choose to do assisted suicide just based on cost. It might be more affordable and it might encourage people to look into it and consider it as an open option, but I do not believe that it is appropriate to say that it will force someone to use it as an alternative means to treatment. I also want to look at the example he gave about life expectancy. The reason it's called life expectancy is because it's what we expect and how long we're expecting them to live for. Many people outlive their life expectancies. This just happens. It's normal. We consider them miracles. So physicians can say that someone will live 6 months and they happen to live, 2 or 3 years beyond that. And that's just how it works. That's just how life is sometimes. So that's hard to say as a way to discourage using assisted suicide, because even in these years, these people could still be suffering emotional pain and physical pain. Just because they're not dead yet doesn't mean they're not suffering. I also want to look at the assumption that he made relating it to Belgium, and they're applying assisted suicide to children. The laws are very specific and they're going to be federally mandated. That's why we're talking about implementing it nationally. All of the states that currently have these programs implemented are only for people 18 years or older. I think it's irrelevant to say that it's going to jump from being a legal age to suddenly changing to killing children. It makes it seem almost as if it's going to be forced upon people and forced upon children to say that suddenly because it's happening in one area, it's going to happen in the US, when there's federal mandations and regulations being put in, and there's plenty of laws that can prevent this from happening. I feel like it's almost a radical statement. And then finally, I want to look at the Alzheimer's issue that was brought up. California's law has strict eligibility and rules out dementia and Alzheimer's and serious stroke victims. This is all stated by MercuryNews.com, supported by the California Death by Dignity laws and everything. If someone suffers a serious stroke and cannot make choices for themselves, they are not allowed to seek out assisted suicide. If they have Alzheimer's, they are not allowed to seek out assisted suicide, and family members are not allowed to put their opinions in and encourage it. So that argument becomes relevant to me as well, as we have regulations in place currently that prevent that from happening. Thank you.